computer. It should be good to go. Okay, friends. Thank you, everyone, for joining our outreach meeting ministry. We're going to start with a prayer, and then we will go from there. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly King, the comfort of the Spirit of truth, who is present everywhere and filleth all things, treasury of blessings and giver of life, come and abide in us, cleanse us from every stain, and save our souls, O good one. Amen. Okay, welcome again, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to let Terry, being that he is the ministry leader, to begin. And I think we're going to have a nice, very detailed meeting and discussion tonight.
Sounds good. Thanks, Father. So a few quick updates. So in our last meeting, we talked about doing a collection drive for the local pads that's in Palatine. And so there was a collection bin and container at the church for the last couple of weeks, probably about a good month. And so, you know, there was a really nice response from the community. The entire bin and collection was overfull or overfilling. And so, you know, a big thank you to Linda Corellis and Mark Poe. I don't see them on the call tonight, but they took the materials over to the pads location to drop it off. And so that's something then, I think they had taken some pictures, they posted it on Facebook. And so we can include that update in our next probably weekly bulletin as well as the Voice. So Father, we'll coordinate that with the church office.
So yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I put we took a couple pictures of the actual stuff that we collected, and it was wow, it was overflowing in that vestibule over there in the old community center where the classrooms are at now, and it was really very moving to see. And then I also received the pictures, and yeah, we must. I expressed to everyone we must communicate these efforts of the outreach ministry, not only on our listserv but our social media. Our publications, and then in turn at the future General Assembly that we're going to have as well too. This is very necessary to show that even during this crisis of pandemic, the amount of strides and efforts our faithful have made to continue to support each other.
Definitely. It's probably now more important than ever since people are looking to stay in regular touch and contact with the church. Another update on the meal train initiative. So in the last call that we had, there's a parishioner that unfortunately has a serious case of breast cancer, and so Connie Smitos, this was really incredible. Connie, you know, kind of worked with Philoptochos and a third-party application to get a meal train organized and to encourage people to sign up to make dinners and other types of foods for you know, this person and her family. She's a single mother of 3, and so in the beginning, excuse me, there's the dates that the recipient wanted was like Mondays and Tuesday nights. Those were the nights that she needed the most help with. And so in a really short amount of time, all the dates on those days got filled up.
Awesome.
Now there's a new date that's been added to it, which is Thursdays, starting on November 12th. So we'll continue to bring awareness to it. And if you've got an interest in making, you know, homemade food to drop off at their house and stuff like that, I'm sure that they would be very appreciative of it. So it's going very well. And I think that this is just, you know, a way to kind of bring some different things together. You know, with the pads, it's obviously people that we don't necessarily know. So it's like a neighbor that could be affected. And our community always responded real well to bringing items and dropping them off at the church. And then in this other case with this parishioner, it's more like inside the house with inside our family, helping someone. So it's really nice on both sides to make that connection and that effort.
And I spoke with the person who's been ill, by the way, today, just to check on how they are doing. I can't tell you the emotion I'm feeling for this outpouring of love and effort for one of our own. I know they also have been very moved by it, and to know that I've had many people ask, that was another thing too, Terry. So I know Connie is coordinating it. Have we given out Connie's email, or how do we want to contact anyone who wants to inquire to help out with this?
So I think that Connie's on the line with his father, so she can go ahead and weigh in here. And Connie, I'm not sure if we were trying to really express our appreciation to you for, the work that you did to organize this initiative with Helen.
Oh, that was my pleasure. That was the least I could do to help. So actually, I did set up the meal train. We got all the dates filled in, and I contacted Helen, and she requested additional days, which I added last night to the meal train. So I emailed that to whoever's already participating in the meal train. But I was going to suggest tonight, if we can put an email blast, to via outreach to Philoptochos or maybe to the community, I'm not sure, for those additional dates. There's not that many. There's another 6 or 7 of them. I have to check.
Connie, I would recommend you start with the outreach and Philoptochos first, because those, I guarantee, because the outpouring everyone will fill very rapidly. What I would recommend though is let's try to mix it up, give everyone an opportunity who wants to help, so that not everyone, is doing it 2 or 3 times, which is great. Don't get me wrong.
Father, to be quite honest, I was a little surprised because I had to reach out personally to some friends of mine through a separate email so we can fill the dates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so.
Okay, then we got nothing to lose. I would say start.
Like I said, there's only 6 or 7 of them. There's a few people that have picked up a couple days. So maybe we should just start with the outreach and Philoptochos, because there's fewer days now on this turnaround. So that's probably a good idea.
All right, good point. That's a good point. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
So Connie, I think that you're probably getting the emails that we're sending out from the outreach mailbox, to the entire distribution list.
Yes.
It'd be a good place to start with just simply a reply all, and then attaching the link that you had found that takes people directly to that particular page for the meal train, right?
Right. So if we can just do another email list like you did, the initial one.
Okay. Do you want us to do that, or can you do that?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I can do it. That's fine.
Okay. And so that way then, because I think Kiki's on copy of that as well, so then she can help forward that on to the Philoptochos members.
Okay. All right. I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. No problem.
Just going back for a moment, I noticed that Linda Corellis, you joined a little bit after we had talked about the pads collection drive, and we gave you some praise while you weren't on here. So we just wanted to say thank you so much for taking those over and coordinating that.
No problem. Thank you.
Great job, Linda and Mark. You guys went above and beyond. I know there was a lot of stuff to bring and donate on behalf of our community. That was awesome.
It was good. Thanks. It was nice. It was great. Really enjoyed seeing how appreciative they were. They were very grateful and very enthusiastic, and commented how they especially could use the what are those flip top cans for the street homeless people, because they don't have any like utensils or anything, or can openers and stuff. And there were a lot of diapers, and it was amazing how much there was. I was very surprised and really glad to see it. Filled up the whole car, and so there was a lot of stuff, but they helped us unload. They came right out and brought the carts and everything. And I tried to afterward thought, oh, I should have taken a picture of all the stuff in between the doors, so we could see it. We can preserve it for posterity. It was quite impressive, if you ask me. And I think it's really a good thing to know that people respond so readily to such a need, because evidently there's quite a need.
Definitely. So we'll also be looking at how we can, repeat this going forward, because it's
Yep.
certainly a need, and we've been trying to do things before with that particular location. So, we'll make sure that we stay in touch about there.
No problem. We're always here.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, we're not, but I don't see that happening in the near future.
Okay.
All healthy right now, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the other thing that we wanted to talk to everybody about was something that we did last year. We did talk about it in our last meeting, which is traditionally our church has done like a Christmas angel tree. That was always with the Palatine Township. Last year, through some of the connections that Father Chris had, we went ahead and obtained an additional list of names with children whose parents were or are in prison or in jail. And so, that particular program went over real well last year also. So the timing for this is that, at least for the one with DCFS, there's approximately 50 children that are on this list whose names have been secured. And so what we would need is for people to sign up to commit towards whether, which number of children they wanted to buy a present for, and bring them back to the church office by November 29th. So working under some shorter timing, and so forth. And normally we would be doing this type of announcement every week over at church during coffee hour, but obviously we've got some limitations there. So a couple of things is that, one, we're going to be we've already started the process of pushing out the announcements into the bulletin and the Voice with the church office to bring awareness to the program again. So that's one. And if you want to go ahead and let your networks know as well about this particular one with the children with DCFS. But the other thing too is that we're really looking to see if there's people that can be acting as coordinators to help with the church office to coordinate these activities. So one is, what related to DCFS, it's pushing the material out into the community, so that way we can make sure that all 50 kids will go ahead and receive a present. So that's one, is acting as the coordinator for that, pushing out the awareness, and basically generating awareness to it, if that's another way of saying it. Second thing is to make sure that it's following up with the people that made that commitment, so that way we remind them that they need to bring their presents back to the church office with the, with the logistics taken care of. So it's not just the present, the tag that identifies the child and any other details with it, and making sure that that's together. So that way then we can take the final step of drivers and volunteers and take those presents to the drop-off location. I believe it's coordinated with another Presidetta, with a church in the city. I'm sorry, I can't remember it at the moment.
Presbítera Diane Lamberis from St. Haralabos.
Thank you, Father. That's a good point. My much better half is reminding me that we took the presents over to St. D's in Elmhurst, of all the way going downtown. So that was a drop-off location that St. D's in Elmhurst was acting as a drop-off hub for that.
Is that still happening?
We're waiting to hear.
We're waiting to hear.
To that point, Terry, did you guys have any discussion regarding the angel tree?
Well,
or
that's the next.
Is that usually under the auspices of my youth ministries? I'm just trying to confirm so I know.
That's actually the next topic.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, that's it's now open. What we need to figure out is who's going to coordinate that particular one. Are you saying that it's going to fall under youth ministries, Father?
If I can, what I would request is this, that would help me. If I can have one person from the outreach coordinate and get the Angel Tree participants from the Palatine Township, I will then, through my November youth ministry meetings, in addition to the Thanksgiving baskets for the Palatine Township, we'll have the kids purchase gifts and then wrap them for the December 2nd drop off, if that's okay with this body.
Yeah, of course it is. I will do it if you like, because I did last year have some contact with the Palatine Township, and I think they're expecting me.
So great. So thank you, Linda. So I actually just went on the website now, and I just looked. They said that the trees, the angel trees, arrive in the lobby of the Palatine Township November 2nd. So they just came out. So if you could tomorrow, could you please call the township or at least stop by? And I would recommend try to get as many angel tree participants as you can. So if we did the DCFS at 50, I think we can accomplish another 50 in the angel tree.
50?
Yes. Let me know how that goes. If not, whatever you get, 25, 30 will suffice. But let's try to push for a 50 count.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll do that.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that.
Linda, it's Sophia. Just a suggestion, if like, I know when we did this similar for the Easter baskets, if you call ahead, they were accommodating insofar as they pulled the tags for me beforehand and had them signed out already.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, sure.
And then that way you could just go pick them up if they're still willing to do that.
Great.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Is the angel tree and the DCFS, are they both toys? Is that what they are?
Yes.
Is there any kind of like criteria, like?
And completely separate programs too.
And the angel tree, if I'm correct, Terry, they might do the same. They actually, the kids almost wish. It's like make a wish. So they'll kind of have a wish list of what toys they want. And then you can choose one of those three, and then you purchase them and wrap them, and then you put the child's name on it, and then they will receive it from there.
Okay.
So Linda, thank you so much for volunteering to coordinate with for the Palatine Township one, and Sophia will follow up with you.
Okay, great. Yes.
Talking about, and then if there's anyone else that has an interest in helping to coordinate for the DCFS, that would be great.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful.
The last thing on my list, and certainly, we can leave it open for discussion too, of course, anything else, Father, that you want to bring up. But one thing that we wanted to talk with the group about is the concept of, in the church's budget, which we try to make it parallel to our own individual budgets, is being able to reserve a portion of our budget to be able to contribute to other charities, other organizations. And so one of the things that we wanted to take the pulse of this group with was there is a certain amount of money that's budgeted in the parish council budget or the parish's budget towards making a contribution to other organizations. And if you remember, when we did the Greek Fest last year, we took a portion of those proceeds and we made a donation to the Palatine Food Pantry. So what we're trying to get a pulse on from the community is whether people think that we should do the same thing with monies that have been budgeted towards helping another organization.
Yeah, I think so.
What?
Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Of course.
So to Terry's point, it's not why wouldn't you? What I would express is the discussion that came from the parish council and then in general with this ministry is effort to kind of spread out what has been allocated for the outreach ministry, so that you can give it to maybe multiple. Because I think for this year, and I don't want to be misquoted, but I believe the outreach ministry budget was roughly around $10,000, and that was to mimic what Terry said with the Greek Fest that we gave to the Palatine Food Pantry. So if we have somewhere roughly around that, what I would express is maybe from this body, we come up with some plan for tonight to express it to the parish council so that at their next meeting, they can approve anything that we have maybe comprised and thinking about what we can offer as gifts. So what I guess the more thought is, who should we try to give some funds to that are in need? Or do we help out entities that we're helping out currently with like toy drives or something like that? So for instance, usually the most impactful one locally is the Palatine Food Pantry. The food pantry is not only doing food, but it does clothes, baby stuff, gifts, you name it, and it encompasses a lot. Journeys the Road Home is the one that predominantly has been housing a lot of the destitute. And then in turn, we have also given them something already. I know you guys did Pad Shelter, and then maybe there's another entity locally. But then at the same time, you should also think about giving this in the outreach, because our outreach is not only for the local community, but for the greater community. Maybe we can do something for the Metropolis philanthropic effort with a new one called Hope, that I think many of you might have seen some initiative about, where their goal is obviously about feeding the hungry and the needy in local communities, and that the Metropolis is almost like a hub for that. And then maybe something in an archdiocesan level, such as IOCC, International Orthodox Christian Charities, that helps people who've been afflicted, especially from natural disasters, or any type of afflictions that might have happened throughout the world, such as diseases, now with the pandemic, and anything else in between. Or the last one, usually that's very popular, is OCMC, which is Orthodox Christian Mission Center, that helps out missionaries and going from there. Now, last thing I want to point out for this incredibly dynamic ministry of our church, at the archdiocesan level, metropolis level, the outreach ministry is also titled as outreach and evangelizing ministry. So in other words, through outreach, we evangelize the word of God. We evangelize the Orthodox Christian faith. And so it looks like we, taking on this mantle of us not only helping out philanthropically, we are now spreading the love and the word of God to everyone through our actions, right? Through our works, serving the poor, helping the needy in all this capacity. So I'm thinking, you know, however this body decides and recommends, I don't, personally, I don't mind. I'm just glad that you guys have this as a discussion point. I think it'll be nice to present it to the parish council so that at the next meeting in November before our General Assembly, they can approve whatever recommendations you've made. And then in turn, we can present that at the General Assembly to show how much our community, our parish has given out this year alone during a pandemic to help those in need. And when you find out the number as a whole, it's pretty astounding to comprehend the efforts and love that we've given out this year, especially during the midst of the pandemic. So I kind of want to put it back into your plates so that you guys can kind of come to a consensus. But my only honest recommendation is I wouldn't just give it to one entity. It's better if you break it up to a few entities, because everyone is struggling in some capacity, and whatever we can give, we know will go a long way and will allow us to think not only locally for like Palatine and Arlington Heights, Northwest suburbs, but Metropolis and Archdiocesan as well too. I'll leave it there.
So what are, excuse me, so what are everyone's thoughts on which organizations? I mean, are you giving to multiple people or multiple?
No, I think everything that Father mentioned, all the ones Father mentioned obviously are great ones. I mean, can we do, I think Father you mentioned 4 or 5. I mean, can we do 2,500 or 2,000 to each one of them?
Nick, excellent. Yeah. So what we had contemplated was, since we have a budget roughly of 10 grand, there's room to play with that as people have been giving via stewardship. So to say, let's just put the number at 10. The recommendation you could put is, let's say through the 4 entities. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's say 2,500 to Palatine Food Pantry, 2,500 to Journeys the Road Home, 2,500 to Hope, which is the philanthropic effort of the Metropolis Chicago. And then, again, I would probably say IOCC as that is more the Christian charity compared to the Mission Center. But that could be OCMC. Remember, we can always support it at a later date as well too, or that could be done in another avenue. But I would say if you think of those 4 entities and you think we do it spread across, I think that's a great testimony from our community. And then in turn, it's fulfilling what we had agreed upon with our budget last year and our parish council efforts as well too.
Yeah, makes sense.
Good idea.
Anyone else, other opinions? Patty, Linda, Fallon, Susan, Maria?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think we should concentrate on the food. I think there's just, people need food right now, and the hunger and that, with the Hope and the Palatine Food Pantry. And I mean, that's just my opinion, very basic needs because of the pandemic.
True, good points.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Fallon's, she asked if we were going to do a food drive. She put it in the chat.
Right, I responded with the Thanksgiving drive. So currently, Youth Ministries with Filópticos, and that's just been something they do every year. We are doing the Thanksgiving food drive at the Palatine Food Pantry. We are doing 50 Thanksgiving baskets, in which I believe I sent out an email to the Youth Ministries, but I will then send one out probably tomorrow to the greater community to ask for canned goods or whatever people can bring so that people can receive these foods in baskets to then make Thanksgiving meals for their families. Especially, I think this year it's most imperative, back to Patty's point, because people have already been told, discouraged from having large family gatherings for Thanksgiving. Stay at home, do it yourself, do it in smaller groups, whatever the case may be. So I think, therefore, you're going to need more people who are going to need more support compared to them who might have been able to go to family or friends, knowing that they could enjoy a healthy and blessed Thanksgiving meal. So, whatever you can't really. Go ahead.
I was going to say, can we see how the food baskets collection goes before we decide what to do with the extra money? If we need to fill that in more.
That's up to you. I mean, the food baskets they will fill. So in other words, Filópticos has already purchased 50 of the gift cards for the food baskets, and families have already begun bringing in food from the announcement this past week. So I'm not too worried about the 50 baskets. If we give the additional 2,500 or whatever you guys decide to give to the Palatine Food Pantry, that's going to be added so that they can have the supplies needed to give people food and any sustenance during the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. So it's really, again, it's up to you guys, whatever you feel. And you can choose the denomination. It doesn't matter what you say. I just say that this body comes to a consensus and make it as a recommendation. And then Terry, being the outreach ministry coordinator on the PC, will present it at the PC meeting in November. And then from there, we move forward. I mean, to Fallon's point, if we wanted to give more to the Palatine Food Pantry, you're more than welcome to do that. You can take from one and put more to there. It doesn't hurt. Now, last year, I will admit one thing, though. Ready for this one? When we gave them the $10,000 from the Greek Fest, it was by far their largest donation in a single amount throughout the year. They receive a lot of donations, but in a lump sum of 10 grand, that was their largest amount. And they were very taken back, well, obviously humbled. But to them, it was very large. The most they ever usually received was maybe 5 grand, and that was a lot. So when we gave that 10 in the one lump, it was quite moving for them. So even if you gave them 25, any number you decide, they're going to be naturally appreciative, and we'll be able to use it appropriately. So it's up to this body what you feel.
Do they, I know they need food, but I know at the beginning of this pandemic, I saw on TV how a lot of these food banks had so much food, they didn't know what to do at the beginning because so many people were giving. Now this probably has changed, because we're so far into this, but maybe we should ask that. It might be because so many people think they do need the food. They might be getting more donations than we think, and they might need it maybe 6 months from now more or whatever. I don't know that for a fact, but it might be something we want to ask, and something else might need it more, some other organization.
I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in, but Susan, that's a good point. That's why the monetary goes a long way because then it allows them to purchase what they need to purchase for when they're in need. Like for instance, I live a block and a half away from the township. So anytime you drive by there by Friend High School, they have an electric sign that says what they need and what they're missing. And so in turn, I just saw recently, like they were asking for soap, deodorant, and like sanitary health
Right.
products for their people that come in. So again, it's a wide variety. And has anyone actually been inside the food pantry at the township? Yes.
Yes.
Along.
I have.
It kind of looks like, and I say this appropriately, please forgive me, it kind of looks like a mini supermarket. It's got
Right.
the aisles, you kind of get to choose what you want, and they even have them in different areas. So being that they're in different areas, you can bring actually whatever you want, and they'll naturally take it. I remember even with the Thanksgiving drive last year, or like Sophia Bishop said with the Easter baskets, even if you got them stuff that they didn't ask for, they will take it. They're very respectful about that, and they will put them there. So if people want them, will take it themselves.
I think too, by giving them the money, they can then utilize that money based on what items they're in most need of.
Yeah, they do, Terry. They utilize that to buy, different things, even meats and frozen things that people do not donate.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
So what does the body recommend? What do you guys?
Yeah, I was just going to ask what are the thoughts of people if you want to go with the 4 different organizations at the $2,500 a piece, or how would all of you like to remix that if you want to?
I personally don't have a feeling about it. It sounds nice either way. It's to a good cause, and
Okay, so do we, sorry.
Distributing it amongst the 4 is a good idea. Evenly like that, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely split it up.
Right.
Well then, Father, we'll write up the recommendation and we'll pass it on to you and George for the recommendation to the PC.
Great, thank you. Thank you guys. It's kind of good, and I want you guys to know, even going into next year, and even into our current budget and our budget for next year, our goal is to really keep this momentum going. We've made incredible efforts as a community to lead by example, and that example comes from us teaching not only about stewardship and about outreach and about our faith and spirituality and everything else, but naturally by teaching everyone what we are as a church, what we are as a community. And when we're a community that naturally receives and then gives, we then imitate our patron saint, St. Ignatius, that we celebrate this Monday, and then we imitate all those saints that are before us, and then naturally they'll come after us, because this is what the whole point. And especially now in the midst of this pandemic, I can't tell you how humbled, you guys have all humbled me from your efforts of giving, of contemplate. I mean, I know other communities that have done, and I say with respect to the communities, have had to be forced to slow down or stop a lot of their activities or even their ministries to help. So with us being able to persevere, and even during this flow of this sadness of this pandemic, we've gone above and beyond. And that's kudos to each and every one of you. And to see your efforts, and from every single one of you being so diverse, it's really a testimony of the love and Christian example that you guys offer. So all I tell all of you is just don't stop, keep going. And what I ask you now is, now that we're getting into the season of giving, season of Thanksgiving, going into 2021, I will encourage, so that with Terry and anyone else who's going to be taking on these lead roles for our outreach ministries, think outside the box. Think even bigger of what else we can do going forward. There's so many opportunities that we can do, and that we can continue to offer to minister to the faithful around us. Don't just be held down to what we've been doing because they've been turning out great and that's easy. Think of stuff that we can do that are even harder, and that people really will gain some benefit from. It's okay to struggle and make a little effort, but we know that the reward we're going to receive is a reward of gratefulness from giving our blessings that we have to other people who need it more so than we do. And that's the essence of life. And so just kudos to this outreach ministry. Kudos to our directors and the coordinators, to Terry and Sophia Bishop, and every single one of you. You've really, I'm very proud to see this ministry, how much it's flourished in the last almost year and a half, 2 years. So great job, Sikaritidia, and just keep doing it. The blessings of the Lord be with you guys. It's great to see. I don't know if Terry has anything final that he wants to offer, but that's all that I have for tonight. And I think I just want you to all continue doing the great job that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks to everyone here too for sticking with this ministry and helping us to, figure out how we were going to try to really repivot ourselves, so that way we could try to, have this ministry kind of really reemerge and do some really nice and wonderful things. And thank you also, Father, for your leadership. I wanted to just kind of leave this part open for discussion with all of you too. Once we get through some of these things with the holidays, we're talking about Thanksgiving food basket drives. We're talking about the Angel Tree, the DCFS children, those types of things. We're going to be looking for like the next project afterwards, that we need to, introduce again to our community and keep this momentum going. So I wanted to see if all of you have anything that you wanted to raise at this time, for possible ideas that we can start to consider.
I was wondering if there's anything we could do through the Archdiocese ministry to Hope physically as a community, not just financially. If they're doing, and I don't know, Father, if you know of anything that they're doing or that we could do as a group, perhaps? So Patty, great point. And I think that's something that's going to really allow us to get involved with in the future. I guess the hardest part is that Hope is in its infancy. Yeah. So I think they're still trying to figure out. So if I understand Hope, their effort is, and actually I'm going to look it up too as well. So Hope from it's called the Humanitarian Outreach and Philanthropic Engagement. And so that's from the Metropolis Chicago. And it says here, and with local networks to help provide food security and stable housing to those in need. To date, Project Hope has distributed meals to approximately 2,000 individuals in need. Now remember, Hope came from, Terry, what was the previous ministry called Metropolis Chicago? We just had it, where they wanted us to be
the Orthodox Store.
Yes, bravo. So they had it called the Orthodox Store originally, but now they changed it to Hope, and so you're seeing their distribution centers are in different areas. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to work with, it says here, the beneficiaries of Hope's efforts are children, families, and individuals living within the parishes of our metropolis, as well as members of our who are striving to achieve food security and stable housing. Hope maintains the anonymity of all beneficiaries and does not share information about beneficiaries without the prior consent. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it is in that aspect. And, it's working with a lot of big restaurants and organizations and this and that. But, they make care kits and kind of everything that we're doing at a smaller level, I think in a metropolis level they're trying to do. So what I would just say is we need to get there and figure out how we can be a part of it. But
Father, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Patty, would you be willing to try to do some research with that organization? At one time, there was a member of the outreach team that was in contact with someone, I think the Presbytera, but a connection got broken there. And so I'm happy to find her email and see if I can forward it on to you, by where you won't have to start from scratch, but at least to reach out to this organization and see, like Father mentioned, it seemed like there's been some start stops with this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not from our end, but from their end. So sure. Just to see like where are they at? What are they trying to do? Where do they need help?
Call from
and come back to here and to see how we can mobilize our parish around that effort.
Call from Smith
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I could do that especially if I have a contact, and I'm sure things are limited right now anyway. I thought about it after I said it with COVID. I mean, how much can people get together and do things anyway? But hopefully this will end soon.
Patty, I just put the email for Hope from the Metropolis.
Yeah.
If you want to take that down, just put it in the chat. You could take that down and use that as one of the first points, because I know that's where they're kind of coordinating it. And I know the person that is coordinating now it's a gentleman. I'm going to look it up right now because I'm on their website. So please just give me 1 second. Okay. It is, I know the last name. Oh, it's the first name. It's Cianis. What's his first name? Oh, blessed.
Perry?
No, not Perry. No, not our Perry. Ciatis. It's Elia.
Oh.
Elia Cianis. I don't remember who. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know who's on ministry directory. No, that's not it. Anyways, well, I guess we'll get there when we get that information. I apologize. Yeah. That's the email. You can kind of work with it, and we'll go from there.
I guess the thing I was just going to add on to it, Patty, as you talk with them, and they talk about what their needs are, just keeping in the back of your mind that the thing that our parish has done real well with is with donation of items.
Right.
It's like that's something I think that we should really take advantage of. And it doesn't matter what type of things that we've asked for, the parish responds with it overwhelmingly. So that's just something that we can consider as being a possible opportunity next year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure once the holidays are over, all of the organizations, even the ones that we're supporting, they do run dry around April, May. Everybody needs more things. So for sure.
Cool.
Okay.
Any other thoughts from anyone else?
Harry, I don't think you got a volunteer for the DCFS clothing drive. What does that involve exactly? What does the volunteer have to do for that?
It's really the toy drive.
Yeah.
It's similar in some ways to what we talked about with the Palatine one.
Uh-huh.
But the recipients are different. So really what it involves is following up with our own church office to push out announcements in the Voice and in the bulletin. It's going to involve interacting with our parishioners as they express an interest, so to answer their questions. And that could be done over the phone as well as by email. Honestly, a lot of it last year was through email, just going back and forth, and people really wanted to know, well, was there still availability? Let me know what the child wanted. So it's actually like a card that they fill out that has like their age and what's on their wish list. And that's people then go out and get those items. They wrap it, they attach the card or the card back, and they drop it off at the church office. And then from there, we figure out how to get it over to the drop-off location, which we'll confirm again if that's going to be St. Demetrius and Elmhurst. But last year, as an example, what we did was George Remnitz was really helpful in this regard, where he helped coordinate drivers that took all the presents over to St. Demetrius and Elmhurst. So we would probably pull on that lever again and see if we can get some drivers that he can help us find.
And where do we get what they wanted? Where did you pick that up initially? Like the cards they filled out?
Susan, it's Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi. Father already had obtained the forms. So I have all the forms electronically. So it would just be a matter of, as a person contacted us that they'd be interested, we would assign them one of the children and then pass along the form to them. And that would have all the information on that.
So the form has what they want on it, and we would just,
Correct.
Okay. And when does it due by? When do we need to get it all back?
We're asking for people to sign up by November 15th because we need to have the presents returned to the church by November 29th. Because early, the first 3-4 days of December is when we're going to have to coordinate delivering all of the gifts to one of the churches so that hopefully we won't have to go to the downtown location to do the drop-off.
So that doesn't give us much time. We'd have to pretty much put something tomorrow or
No,
Saturday.
usually, unfortunately, these Christmas gift drives, they move very quickly. It's a very contracted period of time.
Yep.
Okay, so I would be happy to coordinate that. But so then, do I write a letter to put in the voice then, or how should I get started?
Actually, we've already sent something to the church office about the gift drive, so I can send that to you.
Yeah, Susan, thank you so much for volunteering for it. What I'm going to suggest is that Sophia will get in touch with you, just over the details for how it's worked in previous years.
Okay.
Be a resource as you have questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. It's nice to see some new faces too on the call today.
Yeah. Great work, everyone. Thank you. That's it. I don't know. Terry, you got anything else?
No, I don't. I was just going to say we'll send out a recap to the entire group, and hope all of you stay healthy and well. Please take care.
And then also, when you look at the outreach ministry Zoom meeting link, it also has the schedule of the next meetings pretty much for the next 5 to 6 months. So you're going to use the same link for our December meeting and then going from there. And then we'll be set to go, and encourage other ones to help out. We could always use more hands and new people to help on this ministry. It always grows. So.
All right.
I don't know if I'm heard or not.
Yeah, we hear you, Maria.
All right. This is for Connie, since you're doing the meal train. I mentioned it to a few of my friends. They're not in Philoptochos, and they never got an email. Obviously, it goes to Philoptochos and outreach. And they could cook a meal for Helen. But how do they get the meal train email?
I can forward you. What's your last name? I'm sorry.
Lucius. Like, I tried forwarding it yesterday night, but it wasn't forwarding.
The link wasn't forwarding?
Yeah.
As an organizer, if you can email me your friends' email addresses, and I can forward them the information.
All right. What's your email?
csmiros@yahoo.
Wait a minute. Okay, csmiros.
Yeah.
All right. I'll email you.
Okay, thank you.
And then yahoo.com?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Maria, you got really good at using Zoom, by the way.
I got a lesson from the techie, this really young fella at the Arlington Heights Library.
They're awesome. Thank God for them.
So he was so good, and I called him today too because I had to schedule a meeting.
Awesome. Great to hear. Okay. Well, that's all I got. Terry?
No, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening. Stay healthy, stay well. Chronia Polak for our parish and our entire community. And we'll talk to all you very soon.
Good seeing all of you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.